do the clouds go? Baby, I don't know. Maybe they'll be back tomorrow, we will know. How many times do I have to tell you? Early in the morning, you're beautiful too. Early in the morning, you're beautiful too. Counting the grains of sand upon the beach, somehow that number is always out of reach. How can I tell you the way you make me feel? All of my thoughts begin and end with you. All of my thoughts begin and end with you. I know you like you know me, you know that I know you. I know